Good morning, everyone. We're going to start in about 1 more minute. I see Jesseline has a good question. And you know what, that gave us a great idea. For those that are on the call, if you don't mind, please going on the chat and just placing your name and the name of your business. That will be great. That will help us because we have to send a survey as well. So my business is Children Luxury Apparel. TikTok. Oh, look at TikTok and YouTube.
Yeah. So I'm.
You can answer it. So I don't know if you want to do that. We can get started, or you want to wait a couple more minutes, Kelly.
Let's give everybody a couple more minutes. I'll answer this question real quick, and then we can get started. So TikTok is an interesting choice, and I think that it might work really well for you with a luxury children's brand. YouTube, maybe, but I would probably spend the majority of my time on Facebook and Pinterest, and depending, and if you've also got a series of Instagram, believe it or not, Pinterest is the most overlooked social media network out there for anyone. Please tell me you don't have a cold. I feel
no,
I've got allergies, so I'm like, you'll see me at some point today just with, like the tears running down my face.
Yeah,
probably.
No. Thank God. No, it's not a cold. I promise it's not a cold. Allergies.
But anyway, so Instagram is great. TikTok is really an interesting idea for a luxury children's brand, and I love it. I think that coming up with your unique style and creating, if you really understand your brand and you can take advantage of some of the trending things on TikTok, awesome. I mean, really great. And if you can connect with people to, engage with you, that's what you want. But again, Pinterest is probably the most overlooked social media network out there right now. And that's because it's kind of changing. It's kind of changing from just a place to save pins, but it's now much more of a marketplace. And people go to Pinterest when they're looking for gifts, when they're looking for different things. And Pinterest is now starting to market themselves as a visual search engine. So if you have something like a children's luxury line, that would be really a great place to get involved. Just one of the things that I really think is important is, and if you have a website, and I don't know if you do, Jesselyn, but Pinterest drives a lot of traffic back to your website. And then I think if you've got video capabilities, YouTube is a great place to put them. It's crowded. It's a lot more difficult to find, to grab users from YouTube. I think YouTube can support some of your other strategies. But I don't know that I would make that your number one priority. I would look at Instagram and Pinterest as your number 1 and 2. And then I would also consider the TikTok idea. I think is awesome. I love it. And Susie, yes, there is. The last session is at wpdesignlab.com/Lauderdale Lakes. And the video's up. So is everyone ready to get started?
Yes, I am. I just want to do the introduction. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending the last 3-part session of Do It Yourself Branding and Marketing Seminar. Kelly has been wonderful with us for these past couple of weeks. This has been a pleasure working with her and having her giving these sessions. We're looking forward for your feedback. You please expect in your emails a survey, a 5-question survey. We want to know what else you want to hear about, what else you want us to talk about. We will more than happy to bring that to you. We're thinking of expanding more on social media, and that's why we've been talking, if you came in a little bit earlier, about some of these social networks. So we want to dive in a little bit more into that. But if you have any other subject that you want to cover, please let us know. So enjoy the rest of the session, and Kelly, the time is yours.
Fantastic. And Ashley, I see that you have a business that involves resin, and you create keychains and trinket dishes and things like that. I highly encourage you to, when we do the Pinterest session, come to the Pinterest session. People are selling on Pinterest. And I think you may find that a really interesting option. And um, because of your unique market niche, that might be a really great place for you to look at that. But you have the opportunity to use pretty much all of the different channels that we're talking about. I'd probably consider for you, primarily is going to be Instagram and Pinterest as well. And I'm going to get your name wrong, Sada. Oh, sorry. And your photography business, obviously Instagram is kind of your go-to place. Can you tell me if your business is Little Roops, is that for children? Is that kids photography?
Hi, yes. It does maternity, newborns, children, and family.
Oh, that's
And I'm
awesome.
now branching off into adding professional photos, you know, for like, because we just did the City of Lauderhill setting. The City of Lauderhill, they had a virtual empowerment class for new businesses, and I was able to do that. And so I of course expanded to be able to get them professional photos for anyone who was in there.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So
And how do
yeah,
I pronounce your name so that I
Sab,
don't?
you were close.
I was close, close.
Close
Okay.
enough. That's all that matters.
So yeah, I highly recommend Pinterest, because when people are looking for maternity photos, there's a ton of stuff out there for maternity and
Yes.
for babies. And Instagram, obviously, it's just always hard with Instagram because it's flooded with what?
Yeah.
Photographers. That's
Yeah.
why that's why right now I'm kind of on a big Pinterest high, because
Hmm.
it's still pretty easy to get seen. And you have a little bit more longevity. I mean, you know, Instagram, your post is up and then it's gone.
Right. Well,
Pinterest keeps serving you.
I do have an Instagram account that's where I'm trying to post, and I'm trying to update it. I do have a Facebook business account as well, and Pinterest
Okay.
is, I think, on my list next to really get all the everything that I've done, put it into there, as well as I do have, well, my website right now though, I have the website created. I'm just having trouble trying to host it. It's just the kinks of trying to get it just together, right? But hopefully I should
Call
get
me
that done soon.
afterwards. I can help you answer those questions if you want. So
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
feel free to call me. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start into what we're talking about today, which is DIY graphics, and keep the chat going as we go through here. Okay, so. And let's see, I am going to turn my video off because it's annoying. Okay, so today we're going to talk all about DIY graphics and you know, how to create marketing materials. This is how to become a pro designer, even if you don't feel creative, because it's super easy. I'm going to spend a lot of time in that free tool that I've been talking to you guys about, which is Canva. And when you get there, I think you're going to see why I am so excited by that tool, because it is easy to work with. It takes your design skills over the top. I mean, even if you are not creative, or you feel like you're not creative, because I believe that everyone is, you'll be able to easily create amazing looking graphics. And for those of you that I've said, you know, maybe you need to have an Instagram board, and you need to have a Pinterest board or a Pinterest account, and with multiple boards, it'll make it really easy for you to go ahead and create once resize and make that, make it into a different format so that you can post it across all your social media accounts, which saves so much time in creating your social media. Okay, so I just want to go back to every business has a brand. I'm going to harp on this for now, and when we go forward with the social media classes, because it is so important. Everything from this moment forward, now that you've started thinking about what your brand is and you've actually started to create it, has to go back and it has to connect to who your brand is. So it's either going to enhance your brand or it's going to take away from it. So today we're going to talk about what the pro ad design basics are. We'll look at some DIY ads, flyers, web graphics, social media. And I'm going to show you some DIY design magic. It's amazing when you want to remove a background from an image, it just how easy it is, one click and it's done for you. I love that because I can't tell you how many hours I've spent trying to remove backgrounds in Adobe programs. And then I will share the tip with you, design once, then you can use the magic resize. So thank you again for being here. You have your Lauderdale Lakes page. All of the videos from this session are up there, and all of the resources that we talk about in this session are there. You're free. You can get a free 30-day trial of Canva Pro. So through the page, and feel free to take advantage of that. And in 30 days, you can create a lot of things, and then you can always drop back down to the free version if you want, but you'll get an idea of what it is in the pro. I am a huge fan of Canva now and use it pretty much. I use it a lot. I used to rely solely on Photoshop and InDesign, and now I'm doing less and less of it there, as Canva lets me do more and more things and customizing, and just the ease of making changes makes my life easy. So I think everybody knows I'm Kelly Damasio, and I help people just like you figure out how to do all this DIY stuff. So kick back, get ready to learn, turn off your cell phone, which I'm going to make sure mine is turned off. It is. And grab a piece of paper and a pen, because we know that we are 5 times more likely to achieve things that we write down. So write it down. This is still part of your branding book. And as we look through the DIY design tips, one of the first things that you need to understand is that good design clearly communicates your brand promise and your brand value. So even if you create the most amazing work of art, if it doesn't support your brand promise or value, it's not good design for you. It may be good design for someone else, but it will not be good design for you. Last week we talked about this. 74% of consumers think that your look and feel make a difference, and it can make or break your brand. 3 out of 5 people say they're not going to buy from a brand with a bad design, and 50% say they're more likely to buy from a company with a distinct and recognizable logo. And I'm going to extend that to say, once you have a recognizable logo, if you also create recognizable social media look and feel, ads, flyers, business cards, your entire collateral package. Once you've done that, you become recognizable not just from your logo, but you become recognizable from a look that you create. That's your color palettes, your fonts you use. It's the type of images you put into all of your materials. So everything that we are going to talk about today and moving forward builds on everything we've talked about in the past. And the idea is to make sure that you are unique, better, and special. So you are always going to have competition, and that's okay. Your job is to show people how you are unique, better, and special. So the first principle in good design is to keep it simple, keep it uncluttered, make sure your fonts are easy to read. and don't be afraid of white space. And I'm just going to run through these slides really, really fast because I want to get into the soup and nuts of what we're trying to do today, which is go into Canva and really create some things. But I want you to understand the principles that are kind of behind the hands-on work we're going to do. So don't be afraid of white space. Sometimes the areas in between images or in between words or in between even letters can communicate a lot because you're trying to create an emotion. So if you were a spa and you were trying to create something that felt very serene, this would be awesome. And maybe what all you're going to put on your right here might be just a couple of words like, be calm, treat yourself. So everything doesn't have to be taken up. You can use the white space. White space is your friend. Always include a call to action. So when you're doing any type of marketing materials, whether that is your social media, whether that is an ad, a flyer, it doesn't matter. You want to include a very specific call to action. What is it you want the person to do when they see your ad? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to visit your store? Do you want them to visit your website? Do you want them to buy something specific? So it's super important to include a call to action. And then speak to your audience. Know who your audience is and speak to them directly. I wish I could remember what ad this was from, but they obviously know their audience. They know that this is a youthful audience that likes fashion, but also likes to be comfortable. And you just spent time doing the branding work. So you know who your target audience is, and you should be now so laser focused on who they are that you can take this same idea and make sure that every time you do anything, it speaks directly to your audience. Then use color intentionally. The ads on the right-hand side of the page are really a series of ads from a dentist in like Norway or someplace. And they, the tagline is, "We don't like yellow." So they've painted yellow things a pearly white to kind of give people that idea that we're a dentist, we're going to get rid of the yellow on your teeth. It's very, it catches your eye because it's different. You expect a banana to be yellow, so it's like, ooh, what's going on with a white banana? It causes you to stop what you're doing and think about what the ad is telling you. And one of the biggest challenges is with so much social media, with so many different ways that people can get distracted, how do you stop people so that they take notice of your ads? And color can be a powerful way to do that. Color also, as we talked in last week's session, has so much psychology behind it. So remember to use color intentionally. And then limit the fonts. You want to limit the size of your fonts. Keep the number of fonts to a minimum. I think 2 or 3, no more than that. You want something that is simple. If you have too many fonts, it gets hard to read. And choose fonts that look good together. Choose fonts that have different ways to add emphasis. I think I talked about this last week in the session that I like to choose 1 or 2 fonts and then maybe a third like script font or a fun font or something, depending on what it is that I'm doing for just that call out or action, just to give it a little something else. But one of the ways that I'm able to do that is I choose fonts that come in a variety of different weights so that I can, without changing the font so that it still looks the same, I can change the look of copy. And then scale. Don't be afraid to scale up some, like a single word. So if you're writing an entire whatever, an advertisement or social media post, but the one thing you want to, call out is calm. Make calm the big word, scale it. It's okay to do that. And changing the scale of objects and elements does a couple of things. It stops the reader. It tells people what they are looking at, and gives an immediate read, and also helps people figure out if this is something that they're interested in continuing to look at. And then respect space. So you can see that the two different words I have here have two very different feelings. Space feels like there's lots of space. It feels a little bit more calm. Respect, as it's put together, feels more, it's aggressive. It feels, so you might want to use this if you're trying to get people to pay attention to something. It's serious. But it has a whole different emotional connection to the viewer when you do that. So think about spacing, and you'll also think about this as font weights and things like that. But space is so critical in creating great design. Keep your color scheme to a minimum. Choose a color scheme. You guys have probably, and this color scheme is the same color scheme that you chose for your brand. So if these are the colors for your brand, with the exception of maybe adding an accent color here or there, you are sticking with these colors. So you're gonna have 1 to 3 primary colors. You might have 1 to 3 secondary colors, and you can always change the tone by adjusting the brightness or your contrast to add same color family, a little more interest, but additional color if you need it. Photography is also an incredible way to add color to your color palette without adding more colors to your color palette. And photography has so much emotion connected to it. I mean, good photography really does connect viewers to places, to the place where you can almost, like I can almost smell the ocean in this picture. And then you want to make sure that the images you're using are clean, clear, crisp. This is a way for you to manage the visual journey by using compelling imagery that jumps off the page. Sometimes you're going to be using photography and images as a background. So they don't necessarily, if they're not the hero of the shot, it's okay for them to be sitting in the background. It's okay for them to be muted. It's okay for them to be just, subliminally part of your message. But if you're using bold graphics like this one here, then you want to make sure that it's bold, it's colorful, it's crisp, and that it really does read, so that you're creating this visual journey for your customer, and you're stopping them so that they're like, what is that? What is that a photo of? Why am I looking at this? What is this message all about? 'Cause everything you are doing in your graphic design is about getting people interested in knowing more about what you do, what you sell, what you have to offer them, what problem you will be able to solve for them. And be yourself. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how quirky you are, doesn't matter how, what your personality is, you gotta be yourself, because there's no one else like you, and the world needs you to be yourself. And we've talked earlier about the whole idea of authenticity. If you are not yourself, people will know. Be original. We're all expecting pearly whites and black keys on a keyboard, but there's nothing wrong with having them painted and having them being original, because every one of you, again, is an original. Every one of you is a specific, unique, authentic human being, and your brand has a specific, unique, authentic brand personality. So stick with originality. Try some different things. And then imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. This is a place where you're first starting out. It's okay to imitate other people. If there is an Instagram board that you are in love with and it's from a competitor, or it's something that really kind of feels like it would fit with your brand, it's okay to start there. Your brand will evolve. You will start to find your voice. You will start to find what works for you and what works for your customers. But it is okay. I think I usually call it modeling. It's okay to look at your competitors and say, what are they doing? And how do I take what they're doing and make it me, make it authentically me, so that I can be unique, better, special than my competitors. So you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to make it better. And then inspiration can be found everywhere. You may find that inspiration in a garden, at the beach, in a building, just architecture as you're walking down the street. So when you get good at understanding experience design and the whole idea of your brand, you'll start to see things in your everyday life that like, wow, that could really help me extend my brand. Wow, that could really help me communicate what I do. So look for inspiration everywhere. Look at, and we all carry around these cell phones now. We all carry around a phone that's got, like the best camera ever. Snap pictures of things that feel like your brand. Snap pictures of things that feel like something that your target audience needs, that solves the problem for them. Snap those pictures, and you'll find that you can start to, once you get good at it, you can even use those images in your social media post, your advertising, your brochures. And if you never get good at photography, there are other things you can do. You can hire a photographer. I think we have one here in the group, so that would work out well. Or you can always use stock photography that has a Creative Commons license that you don't have to pay for. And when you're doing all of this, look at things from a different perspective. Try to come up with things that are interesting, unique, and different. And do not be afraid. When you're doing this, be fearless, because follow your gut. Don't let all the noise in your head. Don't let that inner critic say, no, it's not good enough. It's not this, it's not that. It will get better. I guarantee the first couple of these that you do, first of all, you're going to be so proud of yourself because you're using Canva and you're using professionally designed templates. But then probably 70% of the people that I work with use those templates and use them almost exclusively. But the other 30% find that they can take those templates and make them their own in new and unique ways. And a number of people even start to create their own templates. There's just no fear here. Just jump in and do it. And then you got to find a way to stand out from the crowd. You've got to find visuals that help put you front and center in front of everybody else, in ahead of every one of your competitors. And then, have you ever felt like this, that you're stuck in this box, that you've been doing your brand for so long, or you've been working on your business for so long that you feel stuck? Well, I know that this is kind of cliche and everybody says it, and it used to be a forbidden phrase in my vocabulary, but I think it's time for us to, especially coming out of COVID, it's time to think outside of our boxes again. And I know for my business that with COVID, I did get stuck in a few boxes this past time. So don't let yourself be limited by what you have done in the past. You've now got a brand book. Go back and look at the brand book that you've created. And with those ideas, are there different ways that you can communicate visually with your target audience to help them visually understand the journey that that you want them to take to purchasing or interacting with your brand? make sure that you keep contrast as part of your, I'll show you a little bit more about contrast here in a minute, but contrast is a really important element in creating different moods. Deeper contrast, deeper contours, deeper shadows create kind of a, you know, that moody feel. And then brighter colors create a little bit happier, you know, stronger energy. And both can be used really effectively depending on the emotion you're trying to create for your customer when they look at it. And you can always use visual metaphors. So this is an ad on, you know, food safety. An unwashed vegetable can become a deadly weapon. And so they've taken a hand grenade top to the top of an artichoke. It's okay to do that, and it's fun. And starting out, you may not have the resources to create some of these, but if you think about the metaphors that you're looking for, a lot of times you're going to be able to find pictures that work just as well as something that would be custom done. And then show people, don't tell them. Make your images so crystal clear as far as the meaning. And again, this goes back to fewer words, more visual, create the emotion, and show people what you do without words. And then we've talked about this, but connecting emotionally is really important. This Coca-Cola ad is great because it's choose happiness, and you've got the happy little monkey grabbing the Coca-Cola. Every time you start to create an ad, you want to think about whether or not you are connecting to your target audience on some emotional level. And then also think about your graphic design as creating a hierarchy plus an order. So you've got the left-hand side of the page, which everything is all scattered, but then you've got the other side that is ordered. This might be a great visual if your business is organization or whatever, but sorry. But the point here is that you want to, throughout your ads, create hierarchy and order. So when I say that, you want, using my hands, which you guys can't see, you're looking to create where the focus goes for your customer. When they come to your ad, what's the first thing you want them to see? That's where this idea of scale and, you know, fewer words becomes really important. So that's your hierarchy, and then your order is the place where you want people to focus. I'll do this more in an example because I think that's kind of a hard one. And then break the rules. I've told you this before, knowing the rules is important, but breaking them might be more important for your brand depending on what you're up to and what type of brand you have and what the brand personality is. And to stand out from the crowd, you gotta break a few rules. And then if at first you don't succeed, what do? We try again. Your first couple of times doing this may not be like the best. Although I will tell you, I'd be very surprised if you don't walk away and go, oh my God, that was the best ad I've ever done. Focus on one idea at a time. How many times have you seen ads, especially in like, you know, local magazines or whatever, that you're so dense with copy that you can't figure out what it is that this person either does, what do they sell, how can they benefit you? So you're selling one idea at a time. So every time you create a graphic, it is, what is my one idea that I am communicating in this graphic? About the only time that might be different is if you're creating a brochure that is about, you know, that's all about your company, but then every page is going to have one idea, not multiples. And then make sure that you're using only open source photography and fonts, because you don't want to get into trouble like this little puppy is going to be when his owner gets home. You can very easily get into a whole bunch of trouble with copyrights, and you don't want to do that, especially in any print material and or your website, because there's fines that are involved in this. There are, you know, you might be forced to, I know a person who was, had created a blog and was doing really well. And they were forced to take down every image they had on their blog because they weren't using open source. They were just going out and grabbing things, and they weren't crediting people back, and they weren't getting permission. So don't get into trouble. Make sure you're always using open source photography and fonts. Use your imagination. Your imagination is going to be key here, and don't let your inner critic, the one who says, yeah, but that doesn't make any sense, or will that make sense? Your goal in visual communication is to be different, stand out from the crowd, and be true to your brand promise. So use your imagination, get outside of your box, think differently, and figure out what else can help people think about you so that you're standing out heads and shoulders above your crowd, above your competition. And then accentuate what makes you different. If all of your competitors are using red and yellow as their colors, maybe you want to go completely away from that color scheme. Maybe you want to get bright and different, because the minute you change things up, especially if you're in a old school type of business, it gets people's interest. It piques people's interest. So accentuate the things that make you different. And then always be surprising. Don't let yourself become boring. Be surprising. So open source photography, this information will be on the website, but there are a few places where you can get great open source photography. Canva has great open source photography. It's one of the reasons why I pay for my Canva subscription, and I do have the pro subscription, because it's super easy for me to go in and grab photography. I don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to cost me $1 or whatever, because I can have all the images that I want there. Pexels is another, Unsplash and Pixabay. This will be on the website. And then open source fonts, there's bunches of fonts. Google fonts are always great because they render really well, especially if you're doing this stuff for your website. But if you're doing print, just make sure that when you read the license material, again, this is another one of those things where I've seen a couple of folks recently who've gone out and used a trial font in their logo, and then were pretty surprised when they had to spend several $100s to buy the rights to use the font in anything other than personal materials. And anything that goes out for advertising your website, those are no longer personal materials. Okay, so let's create a couple of ads. And I'm gonna make the thing. Oh, I need to move this thing here down. Let's move him down there. Okay, so you can see that I'm in Canva, and let's start here. So this is a Instagram post that you could do, and these are all the templates that you can take a look at over here. And this is an animated one. What I like about this is that if you're doing things in social media, having some animation is awesome. Again, it's another reason for someone to stop on your ad. If you've got a static ad versus a something that's got a little bit of motion, you'll absolutely attract more attention than you would if you had just the static ad. So let's go back over to this. We can use this one. Okay, so let's say that I want to make some adjustments. I want someone to shop my new collection, And my color palette is this. And let's see, I'm just gonna show you how easy it is to change photos. So I want them to shop my new collection, which is all about comfy coziness. It doesn't work. The only thing that I can complain about with Canva photos is that they're so tiny. The thumbnails are so tiny that I can't always tell what I'm getting. So easy enough. And now I want to say here, like, let's call this the cozy fall collection. Easy. And now let's say that I want to make this is, I told you about magic resizing. So I want to resize it, and I want to make this a Facebook post. So it resized it for me, but I don't necessarily love the way that things are laying out here because it doesn't feel as condensed as my Instagram post. So I'm just going to move some things around here, and that's just nothing more than clicking on something that should really have been nope. So I'm gonna grab those, group that so I can move them. And I'm going to do that a little bit, take this. And because of the way this lays out, I want that to be a little bit more like that. And I think I want this to go all the way up. So now now I've created in 3 minutes a Instagram and a Facebook animated post. So I've got two for one, and I'm ready to go. So let's keep moving on to look at different examples. So this is another Instagram post. This is for a photographer, and or this is one of the templates that is a quote by Ansel Adams, but could work really well for a photography post. And here, if you're running a blog or you're doing a website, this is a great way to tell people that you've got a new post, and you could put in pictures of, let's say your post is about food, or let's say it's about Halloween. Okay, my post is about Halloween, and so I'm going to pop my pumpkins in there, which I don't love. So trick or treat, and then I want to grab that part of it. What else do I want on this side? Okay, we're going to take, oops. And I want to turn this. So now I've got a little bit of white space there. So now I've got my new Halloween post, easy enough to just say Halloween, done. New blog post is live. And you may want to talk about, this is Halloween cookies or decorating or whatever. Again, we want to resize this. This is an Instagram. We want to resize this to be for Pinterest. We just type it in over here. And we're going to copy and resize. And so again, it doesn't necessarily always look perfect when you start. So just kind of play with it a little bit until you've got something that that does work for you. And I realized that I got rid of that box on the other side, so I'm going to grab it if I can. And I'm going to put this over here. And I'm going to position it backward so that my things show up. And I'm going to move this up here. I'm going to increase the size of this, increase the size of that. And then to make this work, I'm going to move that down there. When I did this, there we go. Now I've got something that works. Now I want to go back because this color isn't part of my color palette, and I want to add a color from my color palette. Easy enough. Oh, let me show you how to make a change to fonts, just that easy. And I think that's a little too small now. So let's go ahead and say, there's two ways to do this. You could either make it bigger this way, which is kind of easy, or you can go over here and actually choose the size font that you want. So again, that's taken another like 3 minutes, and we've got another set of Instagram and Pinterest ads ready to go. Now I want to show you something that I think is super cool. And any of you who work in graphic programs know that removing a background can be a giant pain in the butt. So here's a picture of me and my husband a couple years ago at, looks like St. Patrick's Day. And I want to get rid of this background so that I can use this picture for something else. So I'm just going to go over here to Effects, Background Remover, and that is it. That's how simple it is to do. This is going to give me a transparent, clear background of just the two of us. And now let's say that I want to I want to put us over water. So now we're swimming with turtles. It's just that simple. It's fun. This is one of those things. And the other thing that's great about this is that if you are doing headshots or something like that, and you need to have your image on a transparent background, it's a great way to do that. And it's super easy, and it works with all sorts of different things. So that's removing a background. This is an animated Facebook post for food photography, for food. And I love this because it is so simple to just, you can, so let's say that we want to make this about my photography business. You might be able to tell I don't really type. And now I want to, so I can either upload something that is mine, or if I don't have anything that's mine, I can just go grab something. Again, we could do the same thing with resizing it, but we've already seen how that works. So these templates are pretty amazing. They're super easy to work with. They're super easy to adjust. You can change everything about it as far as font colors, background colors. Maybe I want this background color to be, and then I want my text to be that. This is feeling a little bit too dark, so I can adjust maybe I want the transparency to go away there so that I can see a little bit, so I can overlap this. I don't really like that, so let's not do that. Let's change my font color. There. So again, quick and easy. We are at, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, and we've already designed 4 or 5 things. Now we're going to get into a few things that are a little bit more detailed. So this is a Facebook story that it comes with 8 pages. So it's great. You can just go grab this and you can start telling your story here. So for any of you who attended the web design classes, we had Charlie's Pet Sitting, and we can go grab some of those images to throw in here so we can see how this would look. Maybe we can. Okay, forget that. It's gonna be too hard for me to find those. We're just gonna go grab pets. I want that background to be in my color palette. I want that to be in my color palette as well. And I want this to work with my color palette. Oh, and you know, I guess one of the things I should call to your attention is color palettes. When you have a pro account, you can create multiple color palettes over here that allow you to just quickly grab and go. But it makes it super easy so that you're always staying true to the color palette that you've created. You don't have to guess once you've loaded it in there every time it's going to be the same, which I think is pretty awesome and saves so much time. And instead of having to go search your brand book for your colors, they're right there just to put in. So you can see that easily in just a few minutes, you could create your Facebook story, or maybe, let me show you, so elements, just, so there's lots of different stickers and things that you can add to your page that'll give you this. This is where these things are coming from, that animation. I don't love that, so we're gonna get rid of that, but maybe I do love that. So there you go. Now we've got another animation piece going on here. It works pretty well with one of the limitations though is with stickers and some of the animations is that you can't change the colors. So you're gonna be outside of your color palette. There's other tricks to doing this and having this work, but for the basic thing, it's probably okay. Pick something that's close to your color palette and it should be fine. This could also be resized to be part of a Instagram story or something like that. Let's do a multi-page Facebook post, and we can apply all 7 pages right at once. This is a template that was created by someone on, you know, how to keep the COVID virus down. And again, super easy. What's awesome about this too is that if you're looking for something specific, let's go back over there and let's look at for something specific. Templates, we're going to get rid of that. And now we just want something that's, you know, that's inspirational. And if we have a photography business, let's see if we have any multi-page. And the video, because they're adding a video to this, so you can add your own video by uploading it, or you can use the video that they have. We're going to turn that off. And let's go over here and look at videos. And we're going to throw that video in there. And it's just as easy as, so we want to get rid of these back pages. I'm showing you a bunch of different things so you can see Canva. This is not the way I would teach Canva, generally speaking, but we're kind of in a, take a look at how things work, just so that you can get the most out of your design experience that you're having. And so here, now we've got the little play button, and you can see that the animation is there. Again, anything with movement is going to draw people's attention to what you're putting up. So highly recommend doing some, you know, mix in design, flat photography with some video. It makes a huge difference and creates, you know, kind of a fun way to stop people from just, you know, scrolling through, and, you know, gives someone a reason to take a look at you. And of course, the image has to tie back to your brand in some way, shape, or form, and or your message that you're promoting at the time. So there's so much you can do, and and Canva continues. I sound like a commercial for Canva, and I'm really not. There's just so much you can do, and it's right at the fingertips. And we've spent, I don't know, 15 minutes, and we've created a whole bunch of things, added video, added color, all sorts of fun stuff. Let's go over, we already did that. So this is a video pin. And again, if you want, you know, this is nothing more than what we were just looking at for creating interest on Pinterest with a little bit of motion, and you're just calling people, your call to action is to get them to go to your website and learn more about what it is that you're doing. It also, your call to action could be just to inspire them and to get them, to help them get to know who you are and know your personality. Then letterhead. This is, so let's say that you have, we're going to get rid of that because that doesn't, we have to ungroup it. We're going to get rid of this piece because that doesn't have anything to do with our business. We'll go back over here. We're a photographer. We're going to resize. And you see how easy it is to resize. Oh, and I don't know if you guys are noticing these pink lines that are coming up. So now I can see that I am now centered in the space because the pink lines are giving me that, that guidance. So I want to make this, that color doesn't really work for what I'm doing. So I'm going to make it that. I'm okay with the beige background. This needs to change color. I'm going to skew this a little bit and scale up just a tiny bit more. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to go over here and make the adjustment, and that is now going to be, I like it. I like that more. And then same thing. You just want to make sure you're following through on your design and that you have kept your colors. The word, all of your fonts can be changed to whatever colors you'd like to have your font being read in. And this tool, let me show you we're going to ungroup. We just ungrouped it. Now I want to group this letter, this, you know, area here. I just hit group. Now it moves as a piece. media kits. So there are, and you can type in just about anything into this template browser and come up with all sorts of fun and exciting things. But so let's say that you now need a way to communicate to either media or customers what you do. So I really like starting with, kind of a media kit template. And this is a photographer and blogger, and all of these images can be replaced. Now there's a pattern over top of this. So when you're editing in Canva, if you can't click things, just try moving them around. You can always go back over here and undo using the undo button. And we're going to take that and we're going to move it backwards so that we can edit these other pieces here. And then we're just going to go grab a few photos to stick them in here. No. So you get the idea. Super easy. This, what's nice about having these templates is it gives you a place to start. So you know that you need to communicate to people that you're an amazing, maybe you're an amazing food photographer. So you'd want to pick, images of food to put up here. And you can see that it's also trying to add a background for me. So if you wanted to add a background, if you wanted to have something that kind of looked like that, you could. There's effects and filters that you can put on this. You could turn that into a grayscale, which kind of looks interesting and cool. But this is, my point is you're only limited by your imagination when you're doing these things. And then I want to go back over here. I did post on the website last week a mood board, a brand board for you. But I also want to highly encourage you, especially if you're at that place where you're getting ready to grow, creating a brand book can be super helpful. And there's brand book templates in here. And I'll post a brand book template of my own, but I wanted to grab this one just to show you just how easy this is. So when you're creating a brand book for yourself, you want to make sure that you're taking, so if this is your font, which if Mac is your font, cool. But if your font is, Code Pro, then you need to change your font to that. If your secondary font is Arapae, then you need to change that there as well. And that would be Arapae. So focus on your font, change your images. Which looks terrible, but you get the idea. Our brand logo. So as you scroll through this, you've got your table of contents, and use imagery that fits your brand, fits your mood, fits everything about what you're doing. What's nice about this is that you don't have to go in here and look at anything other than drag and drop. You're not having to recreate the wheel. So if you have a logo history, you can show the evolution. Otherwise, this is just a great place to put your current logo. And then you might want to have a few words about why you chose the logo. And again, you don't necessarily need to know this if you're a solopreneur, because but you're going to need at some point to hire a photographer. You're going to need to hire a copywriter. You're going to need to hire maybe a web designer or someone else and you want an easy way to communicate to them what you're all about. So drop your logo in here, change your fonts, give a little story about your logo. If you have symbols that are a part of your company, which can also be iconography, or you have special pieces of photography that are a part of your brand, go ahead and throw them in here. Super important to communicate the meaning. And this is where you show your corporate colors. This is where you show the font and exclusion zones. This is actually a great way to put your logo in to make sure that you're going to make sure that nobody is cutting off any of your logos. Most people won't, but good place to use that. And then if there are any types of variations as far as being able using a word below, to the side, by itself as an icon, you can represent those here. If there is a position that you are specific about, you can add that here. Most people are not too fussy with this anymore, but there's some times when it can be. And then what are the proper uses for your logo? Where can it be used? How can it be used? So their transparent icon, apparently on this, can be used over any type of photography to make sure that people know that it's their stuff. And you've got that actually makes a nice representation. So now you can tell people, now people will understand what it is that this logo does. And if we move that over here a little bit, maybe you can see it a little bit better. And then these are things about, you know, what you cannot do. I highly recommend, if there are certain things that you do not want your logo, how your logo to be represented, that you have this. This is also really, having a brand book like this and a logo rule set is important if you start working with third-party vendors, because a lot of times you're going to have people who want to do fun and creative things with your logo. You don't want them to do anything fun and creative with your logo because it's your logo. So they shouldn't change the color. They're only able to use a color palette. And the way I work is that if I'm giving someone my logos, I give it to them and they're not to change anything about my logo. It has to be used exactly as I am giving it to them. If it's a third-party person, if I'm giving it to a designer, they just need to know that they can't crop it, they can't turn it, they can't add any type of drop shadow or any type of other effect, because my logo is my logo. Again, yeah, don't rotate it, don't put it over another illustration, and then don't tint or change the opacity of it. And then this is where you can add a video or add more about the company. And then if you have a reason for them to, if you've got a lot of times brands, once you grow, will put up brand assets on their website so that you can download them if you're a designer or a partner, or if any of you are doing like affiliate marketing. I know that somebody here is doing you know, trinket jars and keychains and things like that. If you have a affiliate program where you're going out and asking people to help you sell your product for a commission, this is a great place for you to save any type of resources that you'd want them to be using, like your social media posts, like your advertisements, so on and so forth. So that's DIY design pro tips in a nutshell. I went a little bit over again, sorry. I guess I should try to keep, anyway, you know who I am. Kelly Damasio, call me. I really am here to help any of you with any questions. It's not a big deal. Usually our questions take me 5 or 10 minutes to answer. 754-225-2044. Make sure you're visiting the Lauderdale Lakes page, because all of the resources that we talked about today are in there. And I'm still offering you that brand audit. If you want to take advantage of this, it's fine. Just give me a call. We'll set it up. There's also a way to schedule it on the website. And you guys know that. You're going to go there and do that. You know who I am. And I just want to thank you so much for participating in these sessions. And look for a survey that Vilka will send out with some information about social media and how we want to, you know, what you might be interested in learning more about social media. So let's take a look at the chat. Great. Delia, I would love to do the one-on-one. So call me or book it online at wpdesignlab.com/Lauderdale Lakes. So that's it for me. Let's add my video back. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts or anything else that they'd like to talk about right now? I can unmute. I'll try and unmute everybody. Asked to unmute. You guys are all being asked to unmute. So if you want to talk or you have a question, just let me know. Anybody?
Me. Hi.
Hi.
My question is, I should be advertising to 2 different markets because I know my target is kids, but the ones with the buying power are the parents. So the issue comes to me, or the confusion comes when I have to, who do I target specifically? I mean, I know I have to advertise to kids because they will be asking for the product, but how do I get them both on the same marketing strategy?
So you actually have a dual marketing strategy there. So what you're going to do is, mom's buying, kids want. So you've got you're going to kind of work a dual path. You have, because they're 2 very different audiences. So the kids are all going to be about how cool it is and how it makes them feel and why, and you know,
Stupid.
What'd you say? Hello? Okay. Anyway, so you're going to want to attract kids, and you might be able to do it in the same copy, believe it or not. You're going to want to create some imagery that is super cool, because I assume that the whatever clothing that you're offering to the kids is something that they want. It's something that, for whatever reason, is cool for them. And then you want to make mom feel like, gosh, you got to get this for the kids. So there's 2 things that there's actually 3 things that you can do. You can work on a combined message and make sure that you're using Pinterest, because kids are not on Pinterest, but mom is. And that combined message is of your kids will think you're so cool if you buy them this awesome sweater, hat, whatever, from my store. And then you want to, you're on the right track with TikTok if, you know, kids are a target, so that they're taking it to mom going, hey, I really need to see this. I really need to get this. And when you talk about children's apparel, how old are you talking?
0-4, so from ages 4 to 14.
Okay. So, you know, so TikTok's going to hit some of the, probably not your 4-year-olds, but they're not really asking mom for things anyway. So, call me. I'll be happy to spend a couple of minutes with you laying out kind of a strategy of where to go and how to lay this out so that you can create your biggest bang for your buck if you're spending money. And if you're doing it yourself, you know that time is probably your biggest premium, but you're not wasting a lot of time doing things.
Thank you very much, Kelly. I will be giving you a call. Thank you.
Fantastic. Anybody else?
Did we just use the number, I think it's on the website, to call you?
Yeah, 754-225-2044. is my phone number. There's also a place that if you want to look at your calendar and my calendar, there's a place that you can go and it says book your appointment now. You can also do that, but call me. Either way is fine.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, Vilka, I'm going to turn it back to you. It seems like we've got everybody's questions answered for today, and that does it for DIY graphic design. By the way, anybody who's out there, did this open your eyes to how quick you make graphics fast, easy, and they look amazing?
I sure.
Yes.
Good.
Definitely.
Good.
All right, so thank you all for attending. We appreciate your input. So look out for the survey that I will be sending out shortly. And we look forward to have Kelly for this month or probably next month with social media. Please let us know, invite your friends and whoever you know that may be interested in promoting their business on social media. You're welcome to 10. All right, Kelly, so you and I will be in touch, I guess. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your day and set up an appointment with me, whether you call me or do it online. That's great.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
All right, guys. See you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Kelly,
Bye.
Kelly, I had a quick
Yes.
question.
Sure.
I missed most of it because I was calling into another emergency meeting with management. I tried that Canva you had recommended last week.
Yeah.
I'm playing with the logo and I wanted to show you something, but can I email it to you later?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good, that's great.
Fantastic.
Now I'm in Palm Beach. Does that make a difference? I know you said Fort Lauderdale, Broward, but
Not to us.
No.
Nope, not
No.
at all.
Yeah.
perfect.
That's good.
Thank you. I appreciate all the help you ladies have given me in the last couple of weeks. It's been great. Lots of
Oh,
information.
wonderful. We're so glad that
Wonderful.
you're attending.
That's
All right,
that's
thank you.
fine. That's fine. Great.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.